What's the 411, everybody?
With Chris, Nick, and Rad.
Recording live.
Okay,
Welcome.
we are here with Daniel Bradshaw of StreetX and now the StreetX AD Invitational, the maiden event last night. It was an excellent event. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you, guys.
I actually am
think
so
it's pretty good.
No, I'm actually so jaded because I have so many business questions to ask you.
Maybe you've come to the wrong place there. Huh?
No, first one being,
Yep.
we deal with manufacturers,
Yep.
and I asked you this question on your Instagram. Like, how do you deal with like China, Pakistan, the language barrier, and like kind of making so many clothes?
I mean, it's relatively easy. I suppose it's like if you want to apply it to like a jiu-jitsu world or a sporting world, it's sort of like patience. It's like if you're learning a new technique or if you're trying to teach a student some sort of technique, they're not just going to be shown it once and then know how it's done. It's something that's sort of like a skill that's developed over time. You're not just going to go, here's the buggy choke, that's how I do it, done, and they're not going to be excellent at it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it takes a lot of time to develop that skill and work out how to do it. So it's the same thing with manufacturing. It's like you're not just going to email one manufacturer and be like, this is what I want to make. And they're not just going to go, yes, here it is.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. It's like you go through the process of finding specific people where it depends on where they are. Then, of course, then you have to deal with things like cultural differences, language barriers. And again, it's like you need to prepare yourself on your end. So you need to get tech packs and everything done as clearly as possible. So sort of act like you're talking to a child. So I want to make this T-shirt. Okay, cool. What are the parts of this T-shirt that you need to explain? And just go into all the detail. If you don't do that, you can't blame the factory.
Yeah.
So I mean, like if you're a teacher.
Because we blame them all the time.
You know, of course, it's very easy to. And again, we still have to this day endless fuck ups. Every single delivery.
Mind if I move that closer?
Yeah. Every single delivery there is issues that happen, but it's all a work in progress of what needs to change and what needs to get fixed. It's something that you're constantly trying to develop. You have issues.
And how long has StreetX been around now for?
It will be 14 years in December.
That's crazy.
So obviously now you're a lot better at that stuff.
Yeah, of course,
But-
a lot better at a lot of things, but still there's things like, again, you learn on the go all the time. There's nothing I'm like, yep, I know a lot of things like the back of my hand, but there's new things that come up. Like, again, production for a T-shirt or a pair of basic fleece shorts is different to a tech rash guard or short for, say, StreetX AD.
So do you have different manufacturers like based on the product you're making?
Yes.
Or do you do it all out of the same?
We go through a handful of different factories. So like socks are done at some place, beanies and hats done at another place, shop bags another place, fleece, hoodies, tees, cotton-based garments another place. Yeah, there's a handful of different factories that we work with for different types of products.
Yeah. Now, why did you get into, I don't know if you call it like fashion?
Yep.
Right? Fashion manufacturing. And how did that lead you to getting involved in the combat sports world?
I mean, I always loved clothing growing up. So my goal when I was young was
Oh, really? You were like always into fashion?
Yeah, as every kid is. One was to be a sports star.
Yeah.
I grew up playing
AFL?
football and I was soccer.
Okay.
And I was a massive soccer fan. I wanted to play
Who do
for
you
Australia.
support?
Manchester United.
Oh, yeah,
I'm a
right.
big, everything infused through the brand has been firstly football and then secondly over time combat sports.
Right.
So I played football at a relatively high level, like a state level, and then got into fighting at a low level, and then obviously transitioned more to focus on business. But those are two things that have heavily influenced our design. Like everything, even like the puffer jacket I'm wearing, the paneling comes from soccer jerseys.
Yeah.
Everything is definitely very much influenced from that world.
Because I saw you guys had like was it for the World Cup or the Euros?
Yep.
The Euro release? That was pretty cool.
And you'll see even with like our stuff for CJI or even our stuff grab an example, the CJI stuff we did last year with Craig, everything is football inspired. Like if you look at the colorway on the kit and then the soccer jersey that comes.
Is that just because you like it or you just know it sells?
No, again, everything links back to authenticity.
Yeah.
It has to be a point of the brand. There needs to be, like if someone asks, cool, why'd you do this? There needs to be a reason behind it.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
needs to be something, some sort of substance to build off.
Yeah.
And that was inspiration from your youth.
Yeah, so that's from when I started. To go back to the question was, I always wanted a brand, but I had no fucking idea how. Like I know grew up loving rap music for an example. That's a great thing to relate to because again, you see like a lot of these rappers come from the street and they tell a great story through their lyrics. I could never do that.
Yeah.
I come from a normal family who immigrated here from South Africa.
Yeah.
I was born here.
Oh, so you're South African.
Well, I was born here, so I'm
Yeah.
Aussie.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
my parents are South African.
Yeah.
But I've got they came here with nothing and they've built us a great life.
Yeah.
So I've got no cool story where I've come from
Now
somewhere cool. It's just like, you're a normal kid in Australia. So like,
now you have a cool story though.
yeah, well, that was the thing is I had no idea how to start a brand. I was
Yeah.
like, why would anyone in LA or New York be like, wow, this kid in Perth has got a cool brand?
Yeah.
So originally we started it as a store and we sold brands I liked from around the world
Yeah.
because I loved clothing and
So you were like a reseller, like a dropshipper?
we were a store.
Yeah.
We had a store. StreetX was a store.
Yeah.
We had an online store and we did pop-ups where we sold brands. And that was my idea. Cool, I don't know how to create a brand, so let me get all the brands I like. One, so I can wear the clothes.
Yeah.
Two, so I can somewhat create a platform where I like. And then from there, it developed like we sort of learned how to create a brand from working with these other brands.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is like for me and people in France, for example, like there's a lot of people that know StreetX for Jiu-Jitsu. And I didn't know StreetX that was like an actual brand before being a Jiu-Jitsu brand. Raf told me about it. For me, StreetX was like fully developed for Jiu-Jitsu. And then he explained to me that like StreetX
different.
was very big as a clothing brand before.
Yeah, so that's the thing is like I think my problem that I've always had with the fight or combat industry, I've always hated it. I think it's shocking.
From what perspective?
From a branding, visual, from everything on a branding standpoint,
Yeah.
I think they're garbage.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
As in the clothing?
Yes,
Yeah,
and a lot of the art direction,
Yeah.
the marketing, the content, everything. Again, they get one high level athlete stands in front of a white wall doing a pose.
Yeah.
Oh wow, he's got a word written on him.
Yeah.
It's like the most basic.
And they've all got the same aesthetic when you think about it. They sell like a range of ranked rashies.
Yeah.
With all the same
Yeah.
Yeah,
like layout.
It's all of the it's all the same things.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, it's all of the same aesthetic. And I think the one brand that really stood out from a young age was never a brand that I aligned with to wear, but more so from a cultural standpoint. And a big thing for us, one of our like brand values is community.
Yeah.
I think the number one brand to do that from the start was Tap Out.
Yeah.
Tap Out was like a cult brand. It was
Whatever
a cult.
happened to OMA? Yeah, like,
Well, Charles,
Yeah.
the mask dude passed away.
okay.
And obviously they sold out to private equity and then it's gone through different hands.
Yeah.
I mean, at its peak, that was one of the biggest brands in the space. Obviously,
Yeah.
not everyone wore it because it came with a certain stigma. But at its core, I think that's the best example
Yeah.
of how a community was. That
Yeah.
brand was so closely affiliated with the UFC. People
Yeah.
thought it was the UFC's brand.
Mhm.
And I look at the jiu-jitsu world, we've referenced from when I fought MMA at a low level, we've referenced the attitude of martial arts and the type of fuck around and find out sort of aesthetic since the inception of StreetX. So we've always referenced it. It's only obviously as we've got older, I wanted to do more of it. Like we
Yeah.
obviously sponsored 2 athletes, and it's like as opposed to posting about fighting all the time, we decided to start a second branch or second arm of the brand and separate it into AD so we could expand there and do more.
So what's like the pros and cons of like not keeping it as, because I remember you made our rashes as just StreetX.
Yep.
Why did you kind
Well,
of?
that was the start because for so long, we're not I don't want to be a fight brand.
Yeah.
We wanted to, obviously we're a lifestyle brand, and a part of our lifestyle is jiu-jitsu and originally more MMA focused because all my friends I grew up with fight competitively or train.
Yeah.
And we had an admiration for that sport and industry. So I was like, cool, we want to make more stuff in that space. And then we developed a rash guard and short. Then we collaborated with Ruka and did some cool stuff with them.
Oh, you had a gi with them, didn't you? at
Yeah,
one
it was
point?
Shoya Roll, Ruka, and StreetX.
Yeah.
And then we did a no-gi kit with obviously Ruka Sport and us. And then we always dabbled. We'd worked with Della and Craig, obviously, prior. We did Craig and B-Team for the last ADCC they competed in. So we'd always done little parts, but this was within our calendar. This is stuff. There was never a massive focus, but it was a cool collaborative thing we did within the StreetX calendar.
Yeah.
And how much has that increased the brand's range? Like,
In terms of product, not massively, because in terms of like, I know if you look at the whole idea with StreetX, we wanted people to look at StreetX and StreetX AD, is it's this very similar personality and direction, but you add in on-mat stuff.
Yeah.
And traditionally, again, an outsider looking in, it's like, cool, there's dudes wrestling in rash guards. That's gay.
Yeah.
So we wanted to sort of align the StreetX personality and make it fun. So that's why we obviously infuse stuff like referencing soccer jerseys, football, and all of the sort of stuff we've referenced in StreetX. How can we apply that to on-mat gear and product that people want to wear?
Yeah.
As opposed to just doing boring stuff.
is the jiu-jitsu community particularly like valuable in terms of as a brand, adding them into the fold?
I mean,
they buy?
I think the most important thing is being, like I said before, is authentic. How can you try and enter into a sport and be a part of something if you've got no ties to that community?
Yeah.
So the only reason we're doing it is because we've always referenced it for a long time. We've never gone, oh, what's the next big sport? Cool, tennis or paddle. That paddle game is massive now.
Yeah, it's the fastest growing sport in
Pickleball?
Australia.
Yeah, pickleball. And I've got no reason to be involved in that. And the brand has no reason outside of a community aspect to be involved with that. So, of course, we wouldn't do it. And a great example of what we did, so during COVID, we had a run club. This was before run clubs were a big cultural movement. We did it for quite a few months. We made a bunch of merch. It did really well. But then it got to the point where I was like, I fucking hate running.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't like running at all.
Yeah.
I like the cultural side of running. But
you kind of design and do what you like.
Yes, but then again, it needs to run adjacent to the brand. So the brand is great because we've always had that sort of, I mean, that's what the they know slogan we've always used is that it's fuck around and find out. So if you fuck with us, the sort of thing, you know what's going to happen. And we've always had that tongue-in-cheek ideology, which is so closely linked to fighting.
Yeah.
So then
it's been easy.
last night with the Invitational, that was like almost like a baptism of the StreetX AD. Because do you want to just talk us through? Like,
The whole idea. So this year was when we officially launched it in January. No, February 9th was the first official launch. So it's gone crazy since then. So it's now, what are we in? July. It's been 5 or 6 months.
Yeah, keep going.
The whole idea was to launch it and then grow it slowly over the first year, second year, third year. But it's gone amazingly well in the first 5 or 6 months now.
Yeah.
So then now it's obviously not taking it too far. So everyone's like, oh, when are you going to make this new short? When are you going to add this new rash guard?
Yeah.
When are you going to add kids? When are you going to add women's? It's like we want to take things at our pace and drip feed it out.
Did you feel like brands like do that? They expand just way too fast? And they
they just try to do everything.
Flood the market.
They can't even do the first thing right, and they try to do everything else.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many disingenuous brands in the fight space now where it's just some guy who's leached onto fighters and gone, cool, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then that fighter wins and they're following, then that fighter loses. And
that would have been so big for you guys when Jack actually won.
Yeah, of
You had all
course.
this stuff like
But
that.
again,
you were backing him before he
it's been with Jack for 4 years. That was never like
a new thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, again, like I think everything I've sort of tried to say is quite well described by like a Jack and a Craig. So Craig is obviously an absolute fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
Whereas Jack is super reserved and nonchalant.
Yeah.
He's almost like a new coming of someone like a GSP, was never a big talker, but could fucking fight.
Yeah.
So then you've got two different variations. Like,
he's a beast.
If you go back, I mean, what I hope is if you go back and look at our content we've done with Jack and with Craig, you can see the character development and effort we've tried to put in with both. They're quite very different.
Yeah.
Like we're not getting Jack to walk around in Speedos and do weird videos.
Okay, what's with the Speedos? You guys are always in your fucking undies.
If you go back on our profile years and years and years ago, like I've done it everywhere. The Great Wall of China, Tokyo Crossing, everywhere we've done pop-ups around the world.
Massive for the LGBTQ community.
Hey, I don't know why they come up to me. I'm confident in myself. I'll get it out anyway.
No, I'm saying you probably sell Speedos to them if you want.
Well, that's the thing is, it's like we've always done things our way and done it differently. Yeah. So again, we rub people the wrong way for sure, but that's part of and that's how I look at the jiu-jitsu world. It's the same thing. There is a very almost taboo sort of look at martial arts where it's about respect. It's about doing things a very certain way.
And you guys kind of switched to the opposite side.
Well, I remember when I first started, the first gym I ever trained at, I was so scared of the Brazilian teacher about if I'm a second late, I'm going to get attacked.
Yeah.
And that
I
was
was the
just-
same. I started a traditional gym as well.
Do you think a lot of brands really try and appeal to everyone, and in that way they don't appeal to any one group so much? Like you guys obviously appeal to the fighting community, the jiu-jitsu community a lot. But
yeah, and I think, like, again, if you look at the way we direct ourselves as a brand, you say we appeal to a jiu-jitsu community. I think there's a lot of people in the jiu-jitsu community who will not like what we do at all.
true.
And that's, I think, a good thing. It's a great.
But I think the majority like it. Like I think like
I disagree. I think you'll get more that are like, this is so fucking disrespectful. This is not how.
do you think so?
I think more older generation.
But maybe it's because our circle
But this, like we're in a circle of new wave practitioners
Yeah.
who they
That's-
and they
train a lot of
fucking love
no-gi.
it, bro. Yeah.
But that's what you should. Again, that's why it works. Is because it's a defined niche.
yeah.
We're not trying to appeal to the 45-year-old,
But-
lifelong black belt who's
Yeah.
built a community gym or a kids gym and is like all about respect and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Not saying we're not about that, but
But I think deep down,
drinking shoeies on the mat and
Yeah.
doing stuff like that.
But
Again,
then-
it's-
but like
that's
behind-
horrible for a lot of Brazilians. that
Yes,
say that.
correct.
but behind closed doors, you're a good bloke and you're a family man, and like
Yeah.
you know what I mean. Like you're not like this is a character, you guys.
no, but no. Again, it's like you say, it's a character. But the number one thing, like I've said this whole time, is it's about authenticity and
Yeah.
community. It's like everything is built on, like, if you look at a community on a whole, obviously there's the internal community, which is our staff and our athletes we work with, or even the athletes we get involved to compete.
Yeah.
External community is obviously, say, customers, people looking in. The whole thing is we want to do something that is positive for both.
Yeah.
So something like a last night, like we said before, I'm not posting online and actively seeking out, I want to get this guy and this guy. I was like, we'll post. We want people to apply to us, who align with us.
Yeah.
And then we'll pick based on the people who are best fitted
Yeah.
to be a part of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I think, and I was talking about Raf, I was talking to Raf about this, is like you stay yourself, and then I think it's like what make things work as well. And then you put yourself as like you the owner, and then you put yourself in the videos a lot. Like people knows who you are,
Yeah.
and then you're on there.
Would you say you're the face of StreetX?
Yeah.
I
you're
mean,
the
the
face of
only
StreetX.
reason I ever did that is from when we were a smaller brand. We didn't have money to pay someone to do it.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Which is why I'm saying, do you think you're like the face of the brand?
I mean,
now,
I'd
or-
say I'm say our face, but again,
Yeah.
it's like cool. StreetX AD, like let's use StreetX AD as an example. We're not trying to be Nike. You're never going to beat Nike at being the best sportswear brand in the world.
Sales,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going
all
to
the
like
eyes.
our slogan is not like, again, it's not
Just
be
do
the
it.
number one or
Yeah.
Yeah.
like our idea and everything is built off just fucking have a crack. Be
Yeah.
the best possible version of yourself. I
Yeah.
don't care if you fucking suck. If you get in there and fucking go,
Yeah.
that's all that fucking matters.
Yeah.
We're not making stuff, we're not celebrating being fucking losers at all though.
Yeah.
It's like it's getting in there and fucking going.
But like I said,
And
everyone,
that harkens back to the old Nate Diaz, old school UFC, where
Yeah.
it's just let's scrap,
Yeah, it's
get a highlight.
and it's not like get up at 4 a.m., have a fucking ice bath, do your fucking journaling, stir your water. It's like get up and go. That's like that's what our brand has always been about.
Yeah.
And if you look at Jack and Craig, perfect for me brand alignments. Neither of them do that shit.
yeah.
Jack doesn't give a fuck about anything but fighting.
Yeah.
Craig is a lunatic and will do whatever he wants when he wants.
Yeah.
They match our brand aesthetically, and for me, I'll do the same. I'll do anything. I'm shameless. I'll do it, whatever it takes. I'll do it.
Yeah.
So talk us through last night. It was a great success.
Yep.
Me and Red both fought in the event. From the athlete perspective, it was amazing. We treated very well. We got nice little setup, nice kit, a lot of eyes on the mat, which was always good when you're a competitor. What did you make of it?
Yep.
And what's next for the street?
Well, the whole idea with everything, like again, the whole launch of the brand, which is in February, was based on, again, like we did a more viral styled video rollout for the launch. And then we launched stuff with Cheeto, Craig in America, in LA. We did a pop-up because with StreetX AD specifically, we really want to target the US market.
Yeah.
And then obviously
Because of the UFC.
no, just it's a massive market, and it's a sport where the sport is on fire, especially in America.
Yeah.
So we've noticed ever since we've been referencing this sort of stuff and doing stuff, it always do really well in the US.
Yeah.
And it's done amazingly well, especially since CJI last year. And then obviously the release in March was our US response crushed Australia.
How did the Cheeto stuff go? 'Cause
Amazing.
those videos went so viral.
Yeah.
Everyone was in the comments
you
saying,
guys
is
are-
he actually getting robbed? Is
Yeah.
this real?
You guys are so good at making those fake videos of
Yeah, but that's the thing is it's all about like the big thing, what we really want to try to do with the StreetX AD brand is make it culturally relevant. So like anyone who follows Cheeto, I've known Cheeto he modeled for our StreetX Ruka stuff, which was 3 years or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And then he knew Della, and then we obviously then eventually met. So when we had something with Cheeto, I was like, he was on a podcast a month prior where he pulled a gun.
Yeah.
As in the guy as jokingly said, oh, what are you going to do if I pull out a knife? And he lifted his pants and he had a gun.
Yeah.
That went viral. I was like, obviously we have to try and do something.
Recreate that. Yeah.
So I was like, he's like, with the fake bullets, what are they called? Dummy rounds or whatever it is. I was like, can you shoot me as a joke? Like, again, it's a fake bullet. And I was like, it's America. I think you get away with anything. And he's like, no, I can't openly shoot you with a fake bullet in public because people will report that. So we were thinking, it was me and Caleb, my film, were like, what's the next best thing we could do with a gun?
Yeah.
And when we did it, we were like, this is so fucking fake. No one's going to believe this. It's just like...
Everyone believed it.
Correct.
I believed it.
An average suburban dude, and Caleb, our filmer, it's him walking up with the knife.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's him walking up with the knife. I'm hiding behind
I need to
the
rewatch it.
cameras. Yeah. And there's a massive shotgun just happens to be on the driver's seat while he's picking his car. When we did it, we were like, oh, no one's going to believe this. But then ended up, it did really well.
Yeah.
But that's the whole idea with, we want to make StreetX AD, it's something, it's not just jiu-jitsu, it's not just MMA.
Yeah.
It's something that is, again, like StreetX, it's lifestyle based.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, and if you look back to what, like tap out, like again, I had a tap out Kimbo slice tee.
Yeah.
But before that, again, I'm not saying it's not more the people who wore tap out, but it's almost look at the world they created.
Absolutely.
They had a fucking TV
I used
show.
to
They had
always
every,
buy bad boy brand stuff because I used to, because I would
all the
see
Brazos,
Sakuraba and all
everything,
these juiced up Brazilians kicking each other in the head on the ground from old Pride.
Pride days.
I'm like, yeah, I like that. I'm gonna.
That's like the glory. Like that's what I grew up watching.
Yeah.
Like the Pride, originally Pride, and then into UFC. Like that was what I grew up watching when I first got into MMA. That was the glory days. So you had like Vanderlei, and then they had the altercation with Crazy Horse Bennett in the fucking back of Pride. All like to me, that is the penultimate time of martial arts.
Yeah.
Compared to now, obviously, it's way more modern.
It's sanitized,
mainstream. I guess.
Yes, but like again, it's never going to be watered down like an AFL or a rugby league now.
Yeah.
Just fight. You can't stop guys getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Which is
I mean, hopefully, there's another promotion that rivals the like rawness of Pride. I think it'd be very hard to do.
And I think it's very hard because that was like so unique back in its time, and like those guys were superstars.
Yeah,
you could almost say it was before its time. I mean, now there's more regulations and people were worried about like your fighter safety and fighter pay.
But I think even for me before that, WWE and WCW is what I grew up as a kid.
Yeah, I love
long
WWE.
before MMA.
Who did you like in the WWE?
Well, that briefcase is NWO. So when NWA came, like the best storyline ever for me was before WWE. Oh, it was the same time. WCW was the number one for me, and then Eric Bischoff came off NWO. That was my favorite era in the whole of wrestling. They had NWO and then NWO Wolfpack with the red spray paint. So like that's where all of our references, especially for all the stuff we're doing for CGI this August, is all themed off vintage NWO and then obviously ECW too. That era, again, it's not even about the sport. That was about entertainment.
Yeah.
It's like it's who could write the best scripts.
Yeah, yeah.
Vince McMahon killing himself on TV. Vince McMahon doing the most insane thing.
Yeah.
Like that is the ultimate era. And again, that's what the UFC has obviously loved doing with Nate and Connor and these stories.
Yeah, they're good at writing those stories.
Yes. Like before all of that was wrestling.
Yeah.
Pro wrestling was to me, it sucks now from what it was.
Yeah.
But those days, like when Hulk Hogan, you had Sting, you had Dennis Rodman would come into NWO.
Yeah.
Celebrities would come in. That was like, as a kid for me, that was the ultimate. And then from now on a business and branding perspective, that's the best deck of references you can find.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess like because you guys are so aligned with jiu-jitsu now, I saw you guys I was always going to ask you, but I never had the time. Like, are you ever going to sponsor athletes like you do with the UFC, I guess, with Jack? Would you say you sponsor them? Or
Yeah,
like,
of course. They are, so Craig and Jack are two official.
Yeah.
We've always tried to be left of center. We've never done the traditional approach. We never want to do the traditional, let's get fucking 400 athletes and just have them wear a rash guard.
Yeah. So what are you looking for in like a jiu-jitsu athlete? Like why, who do you want to sponsor?
Lunatics.
Yeah.
Anyone, again, it's anyone that can align with the brand. If it's a generic guy who, again, I don't want to, it's not just about social media, but it's everything we've discussed now. Like, that you need to be putting in effort. Like we've got this post up now where we're going to pick 10 guys and gear sponsor them.
Yeah.
So we're not going to pay them, but we're going to give everyone free. Every AD drop we do, they're going to get free all the no gi
That's cool.
gear
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
So we're picking 10 people. We've got 3 guys so far. First guy is a 42-year-old tattoo-covered fucking TRT dad.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm going to start making videos. And I was like, all right, you fucking put the effort in, you'll be one.
Yeah.
There's like a 60-year-old fucking black belt who lives in Thailand who rides Harleys.
What a
With
beast.
100 followers. Like,
Yeah.
we want to get...
So you don't care about like how many followers they have. You just want them to be out there and producing content.
Yeah, not even out there. You don't have to... It's be real.
Yeah.
And be ready and down to do whatever it takes and not just... Like the traditional mold of a jiu-jitsu person, go work with Hyperfly, whoever it might be.
Yeah.
You're a better fit
Yeah.
for that brand. And
Yeah.
I'm saying you don't have to be Craig Jones. You don't have to be Jack Della. We've got the 2 best. There is. For me, it's Jack and Craig. We're not looking for another one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're looking for different people. We're looking for people who can tell more of a story outside of I've won every gold medal at every local comp. No one fucking cares.
Yeah.
What more can you add?
I agree.
Would you say that like the StreetX Invitational that you did yesterday that was like fucking great for the next future event that you would do if you do? It's try out to see if there's like people or lunatics, as you said, that fought in your competition is like try to see who's like
100%.
yeah.
That's exactly all the guys we picked were based on that.
Yeah.
So basically, when we posted, Adam and Charlie, who commentated, we just had a group chat. We were like, I'm going to post about it. We'll make a funny video and we'll get as many people engaged as possible. Everyone we picked was based on not just necessarily Instagram following, but Croc Hunter. We know the cunt's going to get fucking get on the beer on camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, that's why he's chosen.
Yeah.
Everyone involved was chosen for a specific reason. We didn't.
Why did you choose Nick?
One, because obviously our relation to
Yeah.
the gym.
Yeah.
We were like, and we wanted people in all different places.
Yeah.
And people, especially if I've trained with someone before,
I was
there's
going
a
to say
storyline.
he's the furthest away from lunatic. He's like the sensitive.
Yeah, but you don't want just all of that type of person. You don't want
Yeah.
just all like look at Della, look
Yeah.
at Craig. They're such polar opposites.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
want
Authentic.
Yeah, and you're not.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than trying to force people to do something they're not.
I do feel like since Craig has come out with his
Everyone's trying to do
shtick,
that now.
everyone's trying to be like
Everyone's trying
Craig,
to,
and,
yeah.
and you can't be like Craig.
No.
Every second reel I got on Instagram now is some bloke, some jiu-jitsu person who's not that good at jiu-jitsu, and fair enough, they don't have to be.
Yeah.
But they're just trying to be like Craig.
And that's the problem is that, again, the people who do it first are the ones who do well. And then the guys after, it's like, oh, you're just
They're
doing
bad copies. But that Della, the thing I really like about him is you can tell he's a craftsman. He treats fighting like a craft. He's perfecting his craft, and everything else
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
And that's what I obviously align with that more.
Yep.
I would never want to be like Craig because I can't. But I think
No, and it comes, but what's your personality like?
yeah, and you're getting both of those things now in the brand. Like you got the lunatics will follow Craig, and
Yep.
Della's got that.
But trying to be like someone is like forcing yourself to be like
Yeah,
someone.
yeah.
You're not
You got to be
yourself.
yourself. Like,
Yeah,
like
that's-
Dan.
that's-
Well, it never works. I mean,
Yeah.
it can work. Like, again, it's same with a brand. If you're trying to replicate what someone else is doing, it might work in the short term.
Yeah.
Long term, it's never going to work.
Yeah.
And when you see how Craig Jones was like a few years ago, and then how is it right now, it's like completely different.
Well,
Right now he's himself.
Yeah.
And then I think like it started to work more for him when he's like tried to like started to be himself in social media.
Yeah, not trying to be,
Well,
not trying to stick to one profile.
Yeah,
It's like you just act.
not trying to be like jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
or whatever. He's just like him.
It's funny because I was just asking Adam, like his brother, like, oh, what was he like as a kid? And he's like, oh, he was the quiet one. I was the one that was a bit more of a lunatic. And it's funny how he's kind of like
But even that is like Craig is not openly a lunatic, like doing
yeah.
weird public things. He just speaks his mind on social media.
But yeah, when Nick and I did his seminar in Singapore, he was like just very quiet, very nice, like just sat on the wall helping us and like just kind of normal. I was like, oh. Just
and that's the thing, again,
Yeah.
it's like even when we pick these 16 guys,
Yeah.
again, it's like we're not looking for the best black belt in every state. It's like we
Yeah.
picked a variety of different belts, a variety of different sizes.
I kind of liked how you did little people as well as big people.
Well, that's the thing is,
was
and
cool.
I'm not just going, who is the number one in each competition in each place.
Yeah.
They need to have some sort of relation to the brand, or I've trained with them, or they know someone
Yeah.
who knows someone.
Yeah.
Someone who's like, again, that little Connor from Adelaide. No one really knows him.
Yeah.
But he was like, when we had needed a replacement, he had booked flights before I even asked him to be in it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm coming. And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, well, you've
Let's
sort of
go.
put me on the spot now.
Yeah.
But, and then he was great. Like
Yeah.
he revs up
Yeah.
the crowd between breaks. Me and Sanjay submitted me on a video. So I was like, oh, I have to put you in now.
Yeah.
There needs to be like more to it as opposed to who's the best number one guy in each sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
As someone that competed yesterday, one of the things I think you did great is like when you did like the little talking a bit before the competition, when you were talking about the things like saying that it's completely away from being something professional.
Yeah.
Which was very funny.
Yeah.
Like
You
I
put a
think
lot
it's
of people at ease. I think everyone was like
That's
in the zone,
exactly
you know.
it.
And when you
That's
said that, everyone was like,
exactly
"All right, I'm gonna," because
That's
he was
exactly
like, "I'm gonna go for a highlight now instead."
Yeah.
You know
that's what I said. I was like, bro,
Switch from a
it's-
winning mentality to like a
yeah,
highlight
it's like, I'm
mentality.
just gonna try to do things and then like try to make like people happy and then try to make videos. That's at first I wanted to hit some things and I was like, before the match was or things like if I get my guard pass, I'm gonna go for boogie choke because that's what I'm doing. And then like when you said this, I think you, as Raf said, like you put like a little like lots of people at ease.
You just saw this collective sigh of like, you know, everyone's like,
Well,
okay,
we wanted to give it a different perspective, like everything, the way everything was branded and themed, the way this is such a small venue for that reason. We wanted it to be crowded. Athletes are like walking through the crowd to get onto the mat.
that was cool. Yeah,
We wanted it to be like that. Everything was done that way.
yeah.
And it was like it fits the whole brand.
yeah, people were screaming abuse.
Yeah.
I do wish I screamed something back.
Yeah.
Now that it's all
You would
said.
never,
I
bro.
wish.
You're too sensible. You would never say anything, Nick.
He just one guy called my clothes guard gay.
Yeah.
Only then got to me. I was like, hey, clothes guard's sick. Don't call it
He
gay.
loves clothes guard, bro. Yeah. Well, your face was so funny when Red hit the buggy choke, bro.
Oh,
Like,
I was like,
your mouth was
Nah.
just like a big circle.
I was like, no way. Pablo was giving the crowd the thumbs up, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, it's cool, man. And then I was like that looks like it's getting a bit tight. And I was like, now it's getting really tight.
If you've trained with Red, you know, like,
Yeah.
once he locks the buggy choke, he won't let go until you tap all the round ends. He will hold it for 10 minutes if he needs to, and he can. So
And your
once,
arms don't blow out after that.
No, because I don't put pressure on my arms. I use my
it's a
legs.
long, lanky
Yeah.
dude. But like, it's
got-
funny.
we
he actually has
fold him a
African
leg.
genetics. That's
We-
why he's quite strong. But I've trained with him before, and I said, "Would you have?" He buggy choked me. And I said, "If I'd eaten that, would you have let go?" He said, "No, I will hold on until he tap." And I believe him.
No.
Once he locked it up, we knew it was on.
But like, we've all been.
Now, the whole time I was like, nah,
No, no,
Nah,
no.
but- Dan,
And then right for the last 3
Yeah.
seconds, I was like, fuck, his face doesn't look too good, eh?
Well, we've all been in Pablo's position. When Red first came, we're like, no, we're not fucking tapping to this. This is a
Yeah.
buggy. Like, we can get out. We know what this is like. And then we're all like, oh, fuck, this is fucking tight. And what did you say to me yesterday? You were like, I didn't know if it was on. So I kind of released it a bit.
Yeah, so what
And then I
happened-
looked at his head and I could see the veins coming out. And I was like, this is
So
on.
that's what happened
So
when
I
I was
wanted to back up.
when I first started to put the buggy choke. And at first, like I couldn't talk because I couldn't talk to Raf, and I wanted to ask to Raf in French if his face looked like he's gonna tap or what, because I didn't want to get too tired. I know it was going through 3 rounds and everything. So at some point, I just released a little bit of pressure just to look on the side
And
his
you saw
face. And then I saw like the veins on his forehead, and I was like, I get good. Okay, but
And his corner kind of fucked him because they were like, Pablo, stand up. And then
yeah.
he went to stand up and he released the half guard and locked it up tighter. And I was like, boys, you should not have fucking said that. Like,
That was the
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's like a good part is like the talk that you did in a bit in
to make. Yeah, I mean, that was like, I think the whole idea is why we will definitely do these more, because ideally we want the athletes to get one, exposure, but two, it's great for them to get fucking paid, because generally it's a low paying sport
Yeah.
that doesn't have many.
I feel like a lot of different, like, there were 16 fighters. And I feel like, what would you say, like half got money?
yeah,
maybe
so
less,
what
like
we
six
did.
of them got
Obviously,
money.
the whole idea was the bonuses were as big as
Everyone got, like, it feels like everyone's got kind of something.
Everyone's, I mean, again, there's nothing worse than an employer or someone
Nick.
being like, oh, we'll work together and I'll pay you an exposure.
Yeah.
But that is one benefit. But that's why, again, when you get that plus there's 10 grand on
Yeah.
the line, it does make
But as
it,
an athlete, all you should really want is an opportunity to get paid, and that was an opportunity.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The thing is, like, people will put this paid in their mind, then just like think about the win, and then don't think about anything else.
Yeah.
That's
mean,
why I'm saying it was
bonuses
so
are
important to talk in the beginning and the bonus as well. Is like people get like more comfortable about the fact that like, all right, let's just fight and let's do things to try to win a little bit. I didn't want the thing, and I won 1,000, which was fucking great for me. But like, as someone that traveled around the world and from France to come to train for 11, and then from 411 to not Perth to have the opportunity to fight at the StreetX Invitational, it's like, for me, I had so much fucking not stress, but like pressure because I was like, I travel a lot. I need something.
Yeah.
And then after the talk, I was talking
Like you
to
asked,
athletes.
Dan, he put his life on the line.
Yeah.
Like he joke.
Bro, I was like, bro, I need something. I didn't come here for anything, so I'm like, I'm just gonna do things and then
Yeah.
like just like have
But that's,
fun.
I think it makes it like that's how it can be opened up to a larger audience. And I think at the end of the day, the goal, like if you think back to what we've discussed, is like I keep saying, oh, communities and number thing. It's like it's a bit performative if you're not actually like the whole point of community is you want to open it up to a larger audience and bring more people in. That is what community is.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you can bring athletes in who one enjoy it, two get paid, get eyeballs, and can bring new people to the sport, that is what community is.
Yeah.
So it's like I just hate so many brands like in their captions and Instagram. It's like, oh, we're a brand like no other, community driven. It's like, cool. If you have to fucking say it, you're not.
Yeah.
If you have to put it on t-shirts, you have to put it in your captions. It's like, well, the people will decide if you are.
Well, the community showed up last night. There was 150 people here.
Well, there would have been
more
throughout the
than
night
that.
about 300.
300 different people, yeah.
Throughout the night.
Yeah.
And I like the small venue vibe where everyone's packed on the
Yes, and everyone's it's free alcohol, free food.
Yeah, that was
Most of the
great.
fighters weren't even from Perth either.
No, that was the
You know, so
the
that's-
idea.
yeah.
I wanted to bring all different people in. And again, you get guys who had no fucking clue what jiu-jitsu was, who would be
Yeah, there
yelling
was a
and
few of
screaming.
those. Yeah.
And that's what we
great.
wanted. We wanted
Yeah.
a different crowd. It's not. We've done it before where it's just been with mates and we'd be 50 or 60 of us here watching and it's like a tennis match. Everyone's quiet.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I knew I do not want that. So obviously for next time, we'll do it even bigger and better and have it, again, it needs to be like a party the whole time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think what's important as well is like Charlie and the Mike was like helping everybody,
Yes,
and I
yeah.
think that's fucking.
You need it. You need it. It
You need
needs.
something.
And to credit to them, like they're kind of clever. Like they make funny jokes throughout the night, so
Yeah.
it brings like
And again,
vibe.
it's a
Yeah.
different perspective
Yeah.
than your traditional
Yeah.
high level commentary talking about exactly what's going on. Again, it's more
It was like the
color commentary the whole time.
yeah, it was like the Project X of jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yeah, it's just
It's like a frat party.
It's more fun. And again, for the first time we've ever done it, we looked at this whole event as instead of going, let's do a marketing rollout for this new collection, let's just not spend any money. Let's get 16 athletes, let's give them the money,
Yeah.
put the rash guards on them and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was sick.
And that went really well. Like we obviously had alcohol sponsor, food sponsor. We had one of the bonuses was a sponsor. So next time we'll do it even bigger and get more money to give away.
Yeah.
And then ideally, again, it's like the brand, slowly build it up. Because if we can get at the point where you can give away 10, 20, 50 grand, like it would
That's
make
huge.
Would you change
Like for
the
jiu-jitsu,
sport.
that's just massive, bro. Like that'll
is.
change like an athlete's life if they win 20 grand.
Yeah.
Like imagine if Red wins or Nick wins 20 grand. Like
Ugh.
Well, you know what I mean? But it's just it's a sad existence that the sport is so underfunded.
Yeah.
Like, there's such a lack of.
yeah.
Okay,
Funny,
but as
it's-
someone who is a bit of an outsider, as you said before, you're not necessarily an athlete. But how do you see the sport progressing? Is it going to become like surfing? Is it going to?
I mean, that's what I look at. I obviously have always loved martial arts and I fought at, of course, a low level, but I hate local jiu-jitsu comps.
Have you done a local comp?
Yes, for 14 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Would you do another one?
it depends. I mean, I fought MMA and I loved MMA. I hate competing. I like winning.
Yeah.
That's all I like.
Yeah.
The whole lead up and the nerves and anxiety. I want to jump.
That's the entrepreneur. And
I want to jump off a
win.
building the whole time. Then once
Yeah.
it's over, then I'm so happy and I'm like, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
I just don't. Local comps, I have just such a problem with. It's like you pay $50 to $80 to go watch your mate wrestle at a fucking basketball court. They're rorting the fucking system. Athletes make zero money.
Yeah.
But just to go and watch, you have to pay $50 or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's fucking insane. You get a $3 medal.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's no, like, again, the promoters are making 20 grand an event probably,
yeah.
which
And
is fine. That's their business.
the athletes will always fight. They're all
Yeah, correct.
All they
People
want is-
die on their sword
Yeah.
for a piece of paper.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
crazy.
we had a few pops last night.
Yeah.
A few people giving up.
Hey, at least they're getting a bit of money though.
Yeah.
and in a nice
Yeah.
event. Yeah,
No, definitely.
No, but people will do that in a local.
And look, your
Oh, yeah.
exposure is more legit than like, I don't know,
Exactly.
a grappling industries highlight on Instagram.
Well, I think there's no. I won't downplay like those like grassroots type events. They need to always exist because they'll always help build the sport. But I think there needs to be something that steps it up. Again, it's definitely not just on the promoters to create events. It's on the athletes to push the envelope, and they need to bring eyes to them. It's not, you can't just blame a promoter and say, "Oh, this event's not giving me a platform."
What do
Take
you
it upon yourself.
What do you think that is? Do you think it's like as you did last night, embedding the event in a bigger cultural event, a brand?
Why don't they go
alcohol?
first? I look at, let's talk from a business perspective, because that's more so what I represent in a brand. Don't blame the athletes. Don't blame the promoters. Blame the brands who have been profiting off the industry the whole time.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah.
How are any of these brands contributing to the sport besides giving one or two athletes pocket money, which is fuck all?
Yeah.
What have the brands, in Australia or internationally, done to grow the sport?
Yeah.
Besides put my logo on a fucking flyer.
Yeah.
No one cares about your logo on the flyer.
Yeah.
What are you doing actively? That's why for us, I look at activations like last night or pop-ups in LA or doing stuff with different
It's only going to
athletes.
grow the sport for sure. Yeah.
That's again, for us, it works. It's a different avenue that no one does. Like,
Yeah.
I look at, when I've just watched the market for so long, I'm like, these brands in Australia, again, it's like the same thing, community driven or a brand like no other. You do the same as everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what, I just look at the industry, especially, in WA, because that's where I've been exposed to. Like, I remember when I fought, I was like, it was an embarrassment. The show is an embarrassment.
Yeah.
But that's what it's always been like. It's at a local basketball center. They've got a ring.
Yeah.
One of them made a cage. And then there's that's what it is.
They're relying on the fact that with combat sports, people do it for glory and they love the sport. There's always going to be a supply of athletes who are willing to fight
Correct.
for nothing.
Yep.
And there's always going to be a brand willing to put their logo on it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's that human nature of wanting to be the best. You know what I mean? Like best fighter.
We had
People who fight will fight anyway.
Yeah.
we had the
They'll be
same
fighting
thing.
whether or not they're in a cage or in a gym.
Yeah.
Or if they have to go to a pub,
Yeah.
they'll be fighting. So
We have the same thing in France with a federation that's very close to IBGGF. It's one of the biggest federation in France, but they don't do anything for the athletes. And so again, they do a lot of things that go against the athlete. So a lot of people try to do their own competitions to go against it, but it's so huge that you cannot do anything.
It's hard to beat.
Yeah.
It's like they're a monopoly, right?
But that's where, I know, looking from us, from a brand perspective, the biggest focus last night was specifically everything had to be free.
Yeah.
We can monetize it by selling product. That's our business. Our business is not fucking jiu-jitsu tournaments, and nor are we going to try to do that. So last night, the focus was on everything mainly came first for the focus for people who wanted to come watch.
Yeah, it was a great community thing because everypeople could.
Everything had to be
drinks.
free.
Yeah.
No entry. No, you weren't buying anything.
Yeah.
And then all of the athletes had the chance to win money. That was what we when we started organizing it.
And it was a significant sum as well. It's not like $50 for some of the night.
And I was like, that was my problem I've always had is, cool, you want to watch your mate? Oh, it's $50. Not that that's the be all and end all, but it's like, cool, UFC, I want top tier, I'll pay that.
Yeah.
Going to a local jiu-jitsu comp, bro.
No,
What am I paying
but you know what's crazy is sometimes Chris and I will go to a comp and we will have 20 people on the list fighting. And it's that's what, 20 times 100 for them. There's $2,000 that our gym is pretty much contributing.
pocket.
Yeah. And then they'll be like, oh, only one coach allowed. And it's
yes.
and so Chris has to pay $40 to get in or whatever.
Which again, it's it's more the principle.
Yeah, the principle's fucked. Exactly right. Yeah.
And that's why that was the biggest thing we started with last night is that has to be free.
Yeah.
And then again, it's that's more of our long-term view is we'll keep building things like those events where if people like it and they want to contribute, you can buy something.
so you think they have to find another way to be profitable, not based on the entry?
Well, the problem is we can do it because we've got a brand.
Yeah.
So we're not worried about, we don't have to earn money on ticket sales. 0 people came. If 0 people had come last night, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
It was more so about putting on something fun and giving all of our customers, friends of all the athletes, complete fucking randoms, something cool to go to.
And people talk about it.
Yes, and that's the thing is whereas these events, obviously they cost money to, last night cost us 16 grand to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously,
I thought it would have been way more, to be honest.
yeah, well, we did it on a shoestring budget, but I know these local comps, they're not just doing it for charity.
Yeah.
So they have to make money.
Yeah.
So again, that's our benefit.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work no one wants.
Yes, we make it on the back end of our product. And again, the more people align with what we do, the more, ideally, if it's not now, if it's 6 months down the track, a year down the track, and they buy a rash guard, cool. It was worth it.
Yeah.
That's all I care about is creating something where people, they align with the product. If they align with what we're doing, then cool. The product will be, the sale will be a byproduct.
I think from what you've said just in the last hour, I think 100%. I'm much more proudly wearing a StreetX actually than wearing
definitely.
a actually now. No
Yeah.
offense.
Well, that's the thing is, it's like, I mean, it's not any brand. It's like, I suppose, and that's the problem brands have with scaling or getting bigger. Because for us, I'm like, oh, we want to focus on the American market. Okay, well, you can't just post on Instagram and think people in America are going to start buying. You need to actively, and I'm not just saying me, but the brand needs to plant a flag in these certain areas like we're starting to do and do more of this. And that's why you align with different athletes. But everything's push and pull. Everything's a give and take. You can't just take everything from people nonstop.
Yeah.
You have to
Give back.
Yeah, and again, it's for athletes, it's hard because especially in a sport where there's not much money.
But I think it's working, man, because you like don't have to pull people. Like people want to be associated with StreetX now.
That's
Like they
what I was
really
saying.
do.
The new wave of jiu-jitsu, like the new guys in jiu-jitsu, like we were saying in the beginning, the old ways they must think like, oh my god, I hate this, I hate this. But the new guys in jiu-jitsu, the younger guys in jiu-jitsu, bro, they
It's
love
like a cult, man. Like
they love
we've got
it.
18-year-olds at the gym, and they're like, "Oh, fucking StreetX, like it's hectic." You
But
know, like,
even
one thing
what
about that,
just
though,
happened yesterday, like people love this.
Yeah,
People
athletes
love this.
I do think having to swing towards being brands themselves, whereas the old way is you show up to compete, and if you win, you're going to get your due respect.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
Or you might get a sponsorship, or you might get something. That's like,
but even you might get a sponsorship, but if you win if you win these few competitions, if you win worlds, ADCC trials, you're going to be able to sell seminars, you're going to be able to sell your gym, and you're going to be able to sell DVDs. Now it's not really enough. You need a brand as well.
Yeah.
From an athlete perspective, I think that is good and bad. It's good because it gives you more ways to make yourself relevant that aren't just competing, but it does take away a little bit from the craft, which is,
of course.
as an athlete, you're not a content creator. You're an athlete. Like
Jack Della, it's a perfect example.
that's exactly right.
Perfect example.
But as we said, you see a lot of people who are going all onto the content side and not.
You need, it's like you need that line. It's like, cool, if you want to go down that line, you need to be able to perform.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem. Is I look at from my perspective, I look at it from a business, but I think everyone should be active. Everything should be about personal brand. Like everything should be focused on. That's what I think. But then, like I know with Jack, we work with Jack, he don't give a fuck about it. But that's why everything we do is trying to develop a character for him. Like we obviously just did the thing where he recreated a famous Nick Diaz video where he's doing the nunchucks on the conference call.
Yeah.
That plays into his demeanor.
What was we get that at the dentist or something? Like what was that?
Yeah, so that was our original designs for the world champ stuff. We had obviously all pre-designed and ready to go once he won. And it was all based around his arm break. So it was Terminator themed. That was sort of to imply that he was getting rebuilt. That's what right. And then obviously we had everything pre-done for when he won. The second it won, it went all went online.
And there was a few things that popped up in that fight, like the just keeping.
Yep. And that's again, it's being quick. It's like we're
iconic now.
Yeah, we're quick to move. We've always used the word cunt. So when his coach said that, I was like, that's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
So that aligns
so Aussie,
perfect.
like,
yeah. And customers were like, why didn't you blur the CUNT out? And I'm like, if you know our brand, that is exactly our brand. The cunt is staying on.
Yeah.
For sure. And again, you get multiple people complain about that. You get multiple that don't. So that's our brand. So you give it all, you give it all, you take it. So it all depends. It's just like, back to the question is like, I'm always saying personal brand. But again, it's like, you could be the best content creator if you don't perform. No one gives a fuck.
So that kind of makes sense. You're saying
you need a
if your personal brand is to be a very flamboyant social media person, that's great. But if it's not, you shouldn't force it.
Yeah,
and focus on your.
And if you're an athlete and you go, I need to be a personal brand, and now start losing everything, it's like, you need to find a sweet spot where you can continue to perform and expand and grow in your sport or business. You don't just our business doesn't just become me being a content creator and not making clothes.
Yeah.
You need to be able to I'm not just making content for no reason. Anything I make is based on something for StreetX or StreetX AD.
Yeah.
Like I'm not just going, what's a video today I can make about politics? Or what's a video I can make to rage bait and get people engaged? All my content or all of the brand's content is directly related to the brand or something we're doing. Like everything, if you look at the content we've done with, obviously, StreetX AD with Craig, Cheeto, or Jack, is all directly related to the brand direction.
For sure. Yeah.
And of course, you get things wrong, but everything is always trying to go in that trajectory to take things forward more in the way that we hopefully want to go.
And where did you get the name StreetX from? I saw you do a video that you did stock.
Yeah, so
training, something like that?
originally the whole idea of the original concept was it was called the Street Exchange, obviously a flip on the stock exchange.
Right, yeah.
So our original website was all stock
Right.
exchange themed. So it had like the header was like
okay.
moving brand name, so
Yeah.
like obviously the stock exchange.
Yeah.
And that was everything was themed on the stock exchange. So I was doing an commerce, like a business degree.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's my point of difference? What can I make? So it was going to be like a stock exchange themed site. And then obviously I didn't want multiple words. I just wanted one singular word.
Yeah.
So there was a new stock exchange coming to Australasia at the time called ChiX. So I
Yeah.
just subbed in StreetX and that became our one word. And then
Yeah, right.
it's just snowballed ever since
right.
then.
And so you said you did a business degree?
Yep.
Yeah. Which at your university?
At
of Western Australia?
university, yep.
Yeah, cool. Nice.
That's, I mean, not necessary, but it's good.
Do you think it helped? Like going to uni?
I'm
gives
doing
you-
one now. I'm doing a business.
Yeah, it gives you a foundation or it gives you an understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
But I know lots of people who are extremely successful with no fucking
Yeah.
education.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
Did you like school?
I don't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
I'm very good at at school. I did very well, and I got a very high mark in year 12 because I just
You just worked
studied,
your ass off? Yeah.
just learned everything.
Yeah,
The
okay.
second I walked out of the exams, I forgot everything.
Yeah.
which is bad.
Yeah.
And in university, it taught me to cheat really well.
Yeah.
and collaboratively learn,
Yeah.
which in business is the number one thing.
Yeah.
If you can, how you can be resourceful. That's what I mean, again, I say cheat. It's collaborating with other people in your
Yeah.
class to
Yeah.
get the best answer.
Yeah.
Game the system.
You were
Yeah,
good at
it's-
group assignments.
Yeah, that's what business is.
Yeah.
It's working and it's being the most efficient and resourceful manner and working with people.
Yeah.
I'm a people person. I like talking
Yeah.
to people. I like being involved with people.
You must get, I say this to everyone all the time, like you must get fucking hammered with messages all the
Yeah,
time.
well, there's
How do you
nothing-
deal with that? Like
There's
emails,
nothing
messages,
worse than
Instagram?
meeting someone you see on social media who comes off as this outspoken.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm a bit more flamboyant on social media. You might be super quiet. But if I met you and you were fucking walking around in your jocks, being a weird cunt in person, I'd be like, oh, it's a bit fucking different to what I expected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if you met me and I was just super quiet, like wouldn't look you in the eye,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, that's
Is it
not-
tiring?
No, not at all. It's being myself.
Because
Yeah, yeah,
not to
I love fucking with people. So I
Yeah.
love posting stuff.
but like not to your degree, but I get a lot of messages owning a gym and stuff, like from like, questions ranging from memberships.
I'm sure you
like,
get very
know-
dumb messages too.
Yeah, all the time, most retarded messages. Like, and I find it exhausting. My phone constantly ping, ping,
what
ping,
you've signed up
ping,
for.
ping. Yeah, but like what I was going to say was, is it not? Do you find it
Yeah,
exhausting?
but get better at delegating.
Yeah.
Get better. Like that's even for me. I've always made the mistake, and I think that's why it's taken us so long to get.
Yeah.
We should be way bigger by now.
Yeah.
But it's taken us so long to get here because I think for so long I was trying to control everything,
Yeah,
and I didn't like. I think up to 6 or 7 years, I worked in the store every day.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if I leave here, we're not going to make any money.
yeah.
And then
I do have that fear with the
I went
gym.
traveling a lot, and I met a lot of guys with big businesses. And
Yeah.
they're like, "You're a fucking dumbass," and I was like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah,
And I've learned a lot more to. You need to give up control in certain things for sure.
yeah. And you got a really good crew, obviously, like working with
Yep.
you now, and they all like talk really highly of you. Like, I
Of
know
course, but
Will
again-
will hate me saying
Yeah.
this, but like I was having a chat with him before about like his role and stuff, and he was like, "Bro, I'm like so blessed. Like, I learned so much from Dan.
Yep.
First day, I thought it was gonna be like StreetX, like everyone's taking the piss and stuff. He's like, you put him to work so fucking.
Yeah, but
hard.
that's the thing is, and that's the one positive and negative with social media in this generation
Yeah.
is people think everything's easy.
Yeah.
And you guys would see it with athletes. I'd imagine, like I was saying before, the average person probably sees you guys wrestling. It's like, oh fuck that dude.
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
And then you get a harsh reality when you do it.
Well, I think the same as owning a gym. People just like I've always thought you just put mats on the floor and you're good to go.
No,
To be honest, when I walked out here in the beginning of the competition yesterday, I heard Pablo. He was talking with one of the other guy, and the other guy was like, "Who replaced Siraj?" Because he was was supposed to fight Siraj, and he's like, "I don't know, but I'm gonna fuck him up first round." And I was just beside him. I was sitting on the ground with Nick, and I was looking at Nick. I was like, all right.
But that's what it's like. It's like social media has been a blessing and a curse,
Yeah.
especially for the younger generation. And people is a hard thing because it's like, again, when we've had a lot of staff come and go. We've had a lot of staff who've been here for a long, long time. The social media gives people a perspective where they think to get and attain thing is very like from a brand and content perspective, every man and dog thinks they're a creative director.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they can run a brand, they think they can run content. That is a label that's developed over 10 to 15 years of being in that role.
Yeah.
Like our main creative director, Tom, who's been with us for 9 years now, is a creative director. He's been in the
What can
industry
you,
for
like,
over 15 years.
Just pardon my ignorance, but like, what is a creative director? Like, what do they do?
So everything from here, from color schemes to the way the things are laid out, everything from
The
products,
representation of the
trims, branding. When you open a package, the smash mural you can see through here, through our store. Everything from start to finish is creative direction and brand aesthetic.
Okay.
Everything on our social media, the way we post, the type of videos we post, what I'm wearing in posts, where they're shot, how they're shot. Everything from brand we've done is strategic.
Yeah.
Nothing's done, again, like we had the athletes we pick.
Because when you come
done
in, it's got a
on
cool vibe, but you kind of think it's all been thrown together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything is planned.
Yeah.
And that is creative direction.
I also don't know much about fashion, but most big brands aren't using creative directors anymore, right? They're using
Well, it all
data.
depends. Yeah, I mean, it's like everything, of course, data-driven helps massively, but creative direction comes back more so how are colors applied together? Like, how do we, okay, cool, like that reference you can see on that purple rash cut over, that's a Fiorentina football kit from early 2000s.
I'm going to buy that.
So that's where, like, again, these references come from a world of knowledge. So, like, cool, I want to reference the NWO Wolfpack spray paint overlay from the early thousands. All of this stuff is like diving back to reference things and not just ripping it off and one for one copying it. How do you apply these references and things to your world that can keep driving forward and changing? Like the tracksuit you're wearing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's based off more of a vintage Nike aesthetic, which is directly linked to football tracksuiting of the late 90s, early thousands. That's where a lot of our stuff is sort of built off. And so Tom, who does all the creative direction and works with me on everything, never done grappling in his life. No understanding and no desire to like grappling or UFC. But because he's a great creative director, he knows what I like. He knows how to go through that world and pick out the touch points that can directly relate to us as a brand.
Yeah.
So StreetX as a brand, of course, the type of people we would reference throughout the years, if you go through UFC, the Diaz brothers, of course, the more of the lunatics and the left of center guys. You're not picking necessarily a GSP or a Matt Hughes straight off the bat. BJ Penn now with his obviously massive crash out on social media. It's like, even he knows going back, you're picking people that align to the overall direction of brand, which the direction of a brand is developed over a long time.
Yeah. And kind of going back to what I was asking, just because I want to get your advice on this, like I really struggle with dealing with social media, like the overwhelmingness of all, like, again, people don't see what, and I'm, again, from my perspective, a lot less of in quantity, the amount of messages and like content and stuff that we have to go through compared to you. But how do you kind of, you said you have to delegate your time better.
Yeah, but I always...
How do you deal with that? Because it's like, I feel like I get so overwhelmed and I'm like, I don't know when to switch off. How do you kind of switch off?
I mean, I just look at it, I always just try and think there's always someone way bigger and with way more problems. Like I look at, even though I've met so many different athletes or celebrities, I'm like, imagine those cunts. Like, just walking around and getting harassed.
Craig.
Yeah, but Craig's a little fish too compared to big celebrities. It's like, how the fuck do they exist? They walk outside and they get slammed.
Yeah.
So again, it's great being exposed to that because it grounds you. It's like, oh, you're no one.
Yeah.
And it's for me, it's the same. It's like you should be fucking thankful that those people are even engaged.
That's true. Yeah.
With you. Obviously,
I kind of have the attitude. It's like, oh, stop harassing me.
It does get annoying. Again, that you're human. There's always gonna be like, man, this guy's asked me how the shirt fits 14 times.
Yeah. It's shit like that. Yeah.
But that's all part of it. It's like you signed up for it.
I never thought of it that way. Like I did sign up for it.
You're in business. Again, I mean, it's like the 80-20 rule. 80% of your business is going to come from the best 20%.
Yeah.
It's always the ones who pay the least who complain the most.
That's so
they're
true.
The customers or the members you need to let go.
I laughed when you posted the thing where it was like, I'm going to get my solicitor involved because I get those all the time.
And that's that's a customer who's bought one thing and bought a fucking 2 teas in a $60 fucking bundle.
Yeah.
Like you've got it at 60% off.
Yeah.
You're going to, cool, go get a lawyer, bro. You'll spend $500.
Yeah, 100%. No,
it's the most insane mentality where like, even I hate people who will go online and give a negative Google review.
Yeah.
Like I've been to cafes where I've eaten, I'm like, man, this food's cold. And I'm just like, you absolutely suck at your business. I'll essentially say something, but I would never go online and bash
slam
them.
them,
Unless they've obviously maliciously done something to me or while I'm there.
Yeah.
I just, I mean, if you're in that world, I think you can understand
And I think
that.
you have big responsibility with big power, because I'm sure if you in Western Australia said, don't go eat here, people would listen.
Well, I think the only time I've ever attacked people is if they've fucked with our store. Like we've had someone smash our window, we've had someone graffiti
I don't believe
our window. And we've obviously faked it, but we've also had it. We've had people do it
Who'd you
maliciously.
attack? You knew who did it?
Yeah, of course, caught them in 2 hours. Gone.
Yeah.
Man, like it was amazing.
Was rivals, or they were just
No, just kids who obviously, again, you're going to get people who love your brand, you get people who hate it.
Yeah.
And you get kids who want to fuck with you.
But it is cool because like when you did the collab with us for the rashies and shorts, like I have quite a few mates that live in Perth.
Yep.
And they know nothing about jiu-jitsu. But when they saw, and I didn't know how big StreetX was, like genuinely I wasn't like that familiar with it. And they were like, bro, you've got a collab with StreetX, that's fucking sick. And I was like, oh, like it's not really worn that much in Sydney. Again, no offense, like, but then when you come here, we pulled up with the car and like heaps of cunts are wearing StreetX.
That's the idea.
on the
It's-
plane.
you're like-
There was a guy decked out.
Yeah, like people on the plane were like, fuck, it's big here, bro. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like,
and for me, StreetX was jiu-jitsu.
like
If I saw someone with like a StreetX,
You assume
thing,
they do
I would be
jiu-jitsu,
like, "Wait, this guy do jiu-jitsu."
Yeah.
Now I think that. Now I do think that because it's grown so much in our community.
Yeah.
People wear StreetX.
Yes.
My housemate.
but it's pretty
Every
cool.
time you drop something, buys everything you drop.
Yeah.
But
It's
a
very
bunch of my friends who don't do jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
when we released the Still Have a StreetX collaboration, they were all over that.
Yeah. They're like, can we get a t-shirt, like shit like that? Yeah.
And that would be the same. And as I was saying, it's the same thing in France. Like I can like do a survey and ask, because I have like a lot of people that follow me in France. Nobody knows that like it's actually
streetwear
like,
brand.
streetwear.
You got
And that's the thing, is that's where you open up to new worlds through
Yeah.
different avenues. That's
But it was really cool that you collabed with us, man, because like it kind of like brought more eyes on the gym, and like people associate us with like a cool gym.
Yeah.
As like I think people already did, but like it kind of did that even.
But that's
more,
the
you know?
whole idea. That's again, it's like world building. That's how everything
Yeah.
slowly improves. And you
So when you say
And
community, like
it
you
was-
helped us out. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
It,
Like
it was authentic though. It was
Yeah,
an
yeah.
authentic partnership. I don't think it.
when you get the cold call collaborations where it's like
Yeah.
a DM, like, hey man, do you want to? And I'm just like, we get that all the
Yeah.
time, and I just say no all
Yeah.
the time.
And I have
Yeah.
a question. Like, was the collaboration with Fortnite like a big like switch in the StreetX?
that was
history?
so cool. I
Because-
Nah,
fucking
that's
love
like that's the
Fortnite,
thing
bro.
is there's never been one thing that's world changing.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is going to change the trajectory. Bro.
because that was huge.
Everyone thinks that. Yeah, everyone thinks, wow, this one thing will.
When you announced that, I was like, this is fucking
Fortnite,
cool, bro.
Fortnite was big. The first Crocs was big.
Yeah, the Crocs.
Second
Crocs,
Crocs was big.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, they're just residual compounding things that have always obviously improved the business, but they've never been like make or break
Yeah.
the business.
Yeah.
It's more just like a consistent accumulation of improvements. I
Yeah,
suppose.
but it's very cool though. Like, I mean, it's the biggest game in the world. now,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
How long
It's-
did that take to come about?
Oh, that was the fucking
they told
like
us
2 years.
Yeah,
It was a nightmare.
and the boys were telling us in the office before, they were like, "Yeah, we released a video, it got canned. Released another video, it got canned. And then by the third video, you were like, I don't give a fuck, it's going out."
Yeah, it was a nightmare. That was
Yeah.
that was hard to deal with.
Yeah.
But that's what it's like. That's again, you got to get
Hard work pays off, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta
Did it
get-
do well, the launch?
Yeah, it did
yeah,
very well.
yeah.
But you got to get used to dealing with big business. It's a
Yeah.
completely different world.
Yeah.
They obviously function on a very different wavelength to we do. So you got to get used to that.
Yeah.
Did you have like a big amount of kid that was like texting you on?
They loved it. Again, you appeal to such a different demographic. But you get young guys, you get old guys.
yeah,
In
Yeah,
their
they'll
40s playing
stay
Fortnite.
because you've made a childhood memory for them. They might stay with you later. You know what I mean?
And that's
Like,
what it's all about. It's like I think about everything when I was 15 to 18. I still think like I'm that age.
yeah,
Still act like I'm that age.
bro. I still love
Like,
Pokemon, bro.
I want to do things like I grew
Yeah.
up playing football. Like I
Yeah.
want to recreate that world that I had then. Now,
Yeah.
But I
Continue.
think like you're definitely gonna have kids looking at StreetX starting jiu-jitsu based on
Oh, of
Great
course.
extra.
And that's again, if we can get one person to start jiu-jitsu, or we can get one person to, like, even last night there was kids with their dads here.
Yeah, and it's
And that was
compounding,
so-
bro. It'll just keep growing. Like you
That's
know.
and that's what it should be. It's all about.
The-
I mean, like one of the whole brand. Like we've never been a brand to like write our mission on the wall.
Yeah.
But one thing we sort of developed over the last few years is giving each person the ability to be the best possible version of themselves. That's
Yeah.
something we've used as like a grounding sort of mission statement.
Yeah.
And again, that's what if it can encourage guns to have confidence and go and have a crack at something,
Yeah.
then we've succeeded
No,
in that realm.
I think the jiu-jitsu community should be thankful. Any event like this, like CJ, like even UFC, I'm just like, it's putting eyes on the sport. So it's like, it's positive.
In theory, the jiu-jitsu community is fucking minuscule.
Yeah.
It's not a massive.
It is.
community at all.
And it's like,
But it's growing.
And it's growing.
Yeah,
now.
of course.
Yeah.
I think that's like, again, COVID exploded things like running, cycling, these sort of things. For me, jiu-jitsu is still at such a point of infancy that there's so much opportunity still to expand.
You know what's crazy is like, because before we opened the gym, we did a lot of like, I guess what would you call it, business study, like and market research on jiu-jitsu, and it was the second highest growing sport in Australia that year. So the first was Pilates that year. So this would have been 2022.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we were like,
Sound like
fuck.
you've done more research than me on it. Ever done.
But again, the market was, your Gracie Bajas, your kids' classes.
Yeah.
60 to 70% of gyms make money off kids.
They run a good racket though, making everyone buy their.
They do, but
buy their merch.
But Chris and I were like, all right, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to appeal to competitors. We're going to appeal to adults. And now we're kind of like, fuck, we could be making more money off the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's like, again, that's the age old gym model where like, you sign up, you have to buy that, you pay for your gradings, you pay for everything.
Yeah.
That works for some people. Again, it's like it doesn't align with us, so we align with different gyms.
Yeah.
And it's everyone's different.
Yeah. Do you anyone approaches you, for anyone listening, would you collab with their gym, or are you a bit selective?
No, very selective. I can't be fucking bothered.
Yeah, fair enough.
We make no money on it. There's like, obviously, not that money is the be all and end all, but I'm like, I don't know you. You don't bring any benefit to our brand.
Yeah.
Like everything about a collaboration is it's collaborative.
Yeah.
It's not one person wins, the other person gets nothing.
So like, just to use us an example, what makes you like select like a gym like 411? You're like, oh, well, again, work with you.
Originally, I think it was Skinner who introduced me to the gym, and Skinner I'd met, I think, through Craig.
Yeah.
So again, there's a relationship there.
Came through a training session.
Yeah. Train again. It's like, it comes down to people. It's like, I think you're not freaks.
Yeah.
And it's a market we're not,
because it must be hard to just like pick, like, say you enjoy a gym, but you don't really trust the person. You don't have to fuck with your brand.
Of course, you're not going to work with someone you don't trust.
Yeah, well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so, like, I guess how do you just go in and you're like, okay, the vibe's good. I'm happy to work.
Yeah, but
with you
we're
guys.
not actively seeking people to collab with. So it's like everything always happens. Again, travel, you go somewhere, you meet someone, and it's never like, hey, nice to meet you. Can we do a collab? It's like you meet and then cool, you've got
relationship.
All of the collaboration done with Ruka, Crocs, all these big brands have come through a relationship, and then it snowballs into something.
Yeah.
You never want to meet someone, like, hey, nice to meet you, collab.
Yeah,
it's not how it fucking works.
Because you feel like they're trying to get something.
Yeah, it's like,
I guess,
if we met yesterday and you're like, can we collaborate? Can you sponsor me? I'm like,
yeah.
It's like, that's not real.
And that happens a lot, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's like, and those collabs don't happen because it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Isn't it hard, like at your point, to try to be like in between relationship where like he's trying to take advantage of?
Sure. I remember one of the most crazy things. There's a rapper called Denzel Curry. I was with a friend.
Yeah, I know Denzel.
And we were backstage and my friend met him. And my friend's first line was his name and the brand he owns. He was like, hi, my name's this is my brand. And I was just like, my name's Daniel. I'm not saying I'm not presenting my business to you. I was just in awe of my friend, just straight into him.
Yeah.
And I was that's not
that. He goes, I'm Raf, I'm a brown belt.
That's
from 411. From 411.
My name's Raf, I'm a
But that's
everyone who knows me knows it's fucking true. Yeah.
That's not how it works. It's more like these relationships need to build over time and then it builds into something, otherwise or it doesn't. Yeah, I think collaborations, that's how they come about through, it's without cliche, but like authentic relationships. It's not
I heard Adam is a co-owner, CEO now.
I know, then again, he thinks he is, and that's why he comes and commentates stuff like yesterday. We make content and do sort of things. Everything needs to be mutually beneficial. Like we get hit up for collaborative stuff. And if sponsors are like, oh, can we get involved? Like a sponsor hit us up last minute. They're like, oh, can we bring our truck and have a DJ and give out product? And I'm like, if you give us money, cool. You want to compete last minute? We don't benefit anything from you giving out drinks. You give us cash that we can give away.
Yeah.
Then there's a mutually beneficial agreement there.
I guess
everyone wins from.
Like the more generic person would just be like, yeah, okay, free stuff. I'll take.
No, it's like it doesn't align with us.
Yeah.
And again, we'll try and get people involved, and especially if it's a product release, we're very, very selective on brands we work with or jiu-jitsu. Again, athletes, everything needs to be very specific.
Yeah.
We're not just aligning with any
I feel honored now that you work with us.
We're very particular. We don't take on too many collabs because it's too much work.
Yeah.
And if it's not going to benefit us, again, unfortunately, we think of us before the partner.
But that's fair. Like, yeah, it's your business first, you know.
Our business always comes first. So if it's a product we're making, again, if it's
Yeah, imagine you're aligned with like a brand that's fucked, you know, like
Yeah, well-
Imagine you did like a collab with Fight Sports, and they're known for
what I was
like
thinking.
known to be pedos and stuff. So like that would be terrible for business.
Yeah,
like that makes total sense.
everything
So,
needs to it needs to make sense. And if obviously the partner we're working with, because then we go into and delve, what are we referencing? What's the concept? What's the ideation that's coming from this?
Yeah.
It needs to make sense. So no one's just going to, oh, yeah, I'm going to buy this jersey because it's pink. I'm going to buy this because it's purple. It's like, what's the story behind it? Not that everyone buys into that and knows it, but that's what our brand is always trying to build on, is a storyline to sell.
I would buy a StreetX pink rash guard.
Oh no, they sold fucking well when we made them.
He wanted it so bad, bro. He wanted to steal Jeremy's one. Like
It's like that orange Sakuraba pants that he wore when he was bashing the races.
yeah.
That's the most disgusting shade of orange.
But there's
I would-
something
I
about
would
it.
wear it. I'd wear it every day because it just puts the image of
And
him.
we've always done things like an ironic color or an ironic graphic. Some people do align with that. Some people will buy it just for the color, but most of the core customers want to know more. How do you?
It's weird. Yeah, it's interesting. I wouldn't think that, but like it makes sense.
Everything like every, especially in the AD world, which is more so what we're talking about. All of the AD stuff is themed upon something. So like everything, especially everything we're doing for CJI in August, you'll see there's a world of references from vintage wrestling and sport.
Bro,
And it's weird.
that will come out
It's
there.
weird, but like as someone who trains as an athlete, it's when you put something on that and it has meaning to you aesthetically or as the brand, it's almost like you're putting on armor. It's a bit
Of
silly.
course, man.
It
It's
is a
like-
little bit silly, but when I put on the bad boy stuff, I'm like, all right.
When I was a kid, when I had
thinking-
fucking Adidas Predator Manias, any
Yes.
of David Beckham's fucking
Yes.
Predators.
Exactly
I'm
like a
I'm-
beige
bro,
predator.
yeah.
Yeah, I had white Predators. I had the gunmetal fucking blue Predators. I grew up idolizing David Beckham. So like when they come out, and then when Adidas released the F50s, I got them. When they had the fucking Ronaldinho Tiempos for the World Cup.
I didn't know you were
Like,
so big into soccer. I have a few things to show you after the podcast.
I'm a massive football fan. That's why I grew up playing. And that's the same thing. You put those boots on, you think
And all of
you're
a
good.
sudden you can curl the ball a bit better.
Exactly.
I
right.
reckon
You know.
if I
Well,
show
marketing.
if I show some of the photos I've shown you guys, I'll get some respect points from Dan after the.
Why?
I
From your
had a
soccer.
match against Neymar. I'll show you after the podcast.
But that's what it's all like. That's a storyline we build on, because
Yeah.
again, it's an authentic story. It's
Yeah.
not just, oh, what's a big sport right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And that's generally like geographically, that's how I know so many different countries.
Yeah.
And like all the Brazilian stuff we did with Craig, that's the 2002 World Cup kit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. I love the Brazilian favela video you guys did. That was,
But that's like that-
Caleb killed it with that
Yes,
one, bro.
like
He
that
fucking killed it.
tracksuit is literally the off-field Nike tracksuit they wore for that World
Yeah.
Cup. The green kit is the training kit.
Yeah,
The silver jersey is another one of the training kits.
Chris wears that green and gold kit.
Yeah,
all the
all
time.
of that stuff is built
Yeah.
off, again, without directly just
Yeah.
remaking it. We've obviously built it off that and changed
That's okay.
things. But everything's referential to certain things.
No, it's sick. Yeah,
The Champions League, were you Inter or Paris?
For me, I've loved Inter for a long time.
you like the Italian teams?
I do. I've always, and PSG, they just fucking bought everything. So
Yeah.
they just, but I think it's great that France need to.
I'm a Marseille
need
fan,
something.
so I fucking hated it.
Marseille's elite.
But
Yeah.
especially aesthetically, the Italian football aesthetic
Yes.
is it's unbeatable.
You know how you're telling us JDM's mate bought like 10?
Yes, yeah.
Bro, if you made a Marseille StreetX thing, I would send you.
Well, I
like
mean,
10 kits.
Marseille. Drogba was originally Marseille.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's when I was a big, like, that's my peak football
Yeah.
era. It was before Drogba obviously moved. That's the era I love.
Yeah.
Leon used to be amazing.
Yeah,
PSG.
Juninho.
PSG,
Yeah.
like PSG
PSG were
color.
nothing.
Yeah, PSG color. No, but like
PSG's iconic, yeah.
Yeah, no, but like I'm
David
talking
Beckham.
about
Ronaldinho.
what you said about the colors. Like if you do white and blue Marseille
Marseille is
raspberry,
that-
it would have been
that white and hyper
crazy.
blue.
I have
amazing.
a tracksuit like white and blue, and it doesn't fit me anymore. But I refuse to sell it or give it away from Marseille. And my wife's like, "What is this thing
It
doing
fits
in the
me.
cupboard still?"
Yeah,
no, it doesn't.
Marseille is like a cult
Yeah,
hero.
I'm like, you don't understand. I'm not giving this thing away. You do not understand.
But yeah, I mean, PSG with the money, it's like, and they're a great example of a brand now. They're
Yeah.
opening stores all around the world.
Yeah.
They're trying to be a brand.
But this year they were so perfect.
what is the
Like, this year they were so strong.
What is their community? You know what I mean?
well, the thing is, you look at it,
Oh, it's a cult there, bro.
But I don't respect it as much.
What?
I don't respect the community as much because I think they buy it.
Yeah, but you got to look at like originally they were still like if you look at Chelsea, the same thing when Abramovich came in, they were still one
Yeah,
of
that was
the-
massive. Yeah,
And now it's so many like Newcastle, so many of these brands
Yeah.
have come in.
Man City.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, look at them all, but
Yeah.
they all started as something. So it's like they started something, but it's almost like imagine a small fire and you fucking chuck a petrol station on
Yeah,
top.
yeah.
So it did start as something. That's why I can
Yeah.
respect it to a degree. But then again, you get the plastic fans who are like, oh, I'm now supporting them.
Yeah, because what does it mean to be a PSG
Yes,
supporter?
correct.
Yeah.
Potentially less than it
I get what
means
you're
to be,
saying.
Olympically on.
But it's hard. It's like
Well,
I grew up watching soccer, but I aligned with Manchester United because I was a kid. That's the
But he grew up in Paris, you know. So
you had
Yeah.
David Beckham's. But
Yeah.
again, cool. You're aligning with that team because they're winning.
Yeah.
So is that not the same argument?
that's why I gave you some
But,
kudos
and-
when you said I'm still a Man U fan.
Oh,
I was
fuck,
like,
for the last year. I mean,
it could be the same as saying I align more with StreetX, I align more with Hyperfly.
yeah, or like I mean, you look at football clubs. You look at like even how a Manchester City, I suppose, have done a lot better with their transfers over the last 10 years of how they've managed their players, whereas a United have been the worst fucking.
yeah,
Like
it's
you're
been a
bringing in
shambles there.
Falcao, you're bringing Ibra,
Yeah.
and they're all fucking fossils.
Yeah,
To me, it's like whoever's in
I thought
charge.
Ibra
of
was
the-
pretty good.
Yeah, but it's
I like
that's so short term.
Yeah,
You're putting a band-aid on constantly.
yeah. They're not building up like they used to for
Yes.
the youth. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 99
Like
or 98.
gigs and all that. Yeah.
The treble year, it's like
Yeah.
all of those players came from the academy.
Yeah.
That was-
Yeah.
like,
But you know, it's funny you say that because I feel like, and agree and disagree with me, Red and Nick. I feel like we're kind of taking that approach at our gym as well. We're like, let's try and recruit young guys and build from the ground.
But you need a blend. You can't
Yeah.
just sit back and be slow. You do need to add fire,
Yeah.
fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
And get a good balance. You can't
Yeah.
just sit back and be like, we're the grassroots. We're never going to get bigger. Like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
man,
that's
no one
true.
cares.
That's
Like,
true.
Well, I think at 411 we've done that with bringing in Dave and Jeremy. We've brought in some really high level
Yeah.
coaches that obviously they're
Yeah.
homegrown for us.
Jakob as well.
Jakob as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Jakob. He just messaged me today saying good luck for your comp today.
like, bro, you're out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And then we've got the young guys coming in now.
yeah,
like,
really helping
you know,
all of our students who have been with us for a long time now getting better.
And I think you guys do a good job of that, like hyping them up and being like, "Oh, I can be like Nick and Red in a few years. Like,
But
I
you
can
know-
get on StreetX." So you do a good job of that too. You know,
what's
making
in
that promotion.
What's in a gym? Like it is just the community,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
seeing someone that like you've trained with for a couple of years. Like we had a comp recently, a Grapple Mania super fight event. Went
Did you
4
see
hours.
one of the boys shouted you out for that sponsorship?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
Noah.
Noah. Yeah.
Noah. Cheers.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's messaging me too.
Yeah.
He's relentless.
He told me he's like, I'm gonna get on down. I was like,
That's good that kids are doing stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It's like they're actively. It shows there's a market.
He was a D1 soccer player, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, in the US. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
But
he
it shows there is
played
a
NPL1 as well.
there is a market growing.
Yeah.
Where it's like cool. More brands should be doing that.
Yeah.
More brands should be pushing these young.
Yeah, he's one of them at
Go
the gym that
to-
loves StreetX.
I have a lot of people in France that started traveling in jiu-jitsu because I wasn't one of the first guy in France that started to leave France to learn jiu-jitsu because in no-gi we were late. We're very good in gi, but in no-gi was so late.
Yeah.
So I started to travel for this, and then there's a lot of people that follow me for this, and then like I have like a good name in France in jiu-jitsu competition, in jiu-jitsu like world. So when I started traveling, lots of people started to do the same thing. Come to Australia, come to the US.
That's the
come to-
best
yeah.
thing is like all it takes is one or two people or brands to start doing something and
Yeah.
it opens the doors
Yeah.
for others.
Yeah.
Which is the
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. Like I have these words came from someone that came from France to Australia.
Yeah.
He talked to me and they're like, "Yeah, people knows you in France." And
So
like,
why did you pick Australia?
because I knew, like, after like I was just like, I went to Korea, I went to Taiwan, I went to the UK, I went to Italy, I went to the US, I went to Netherlands, and
wow.
Australia was like for me one of the best places.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to go in Australia.
Yeah.
Like-
And he wanted to develop a leg game because he didn't have that.
Okay, yeah.
And so you can tell the story. Like he said he looked up online. The
So
top
yeah, I
gyms
was
to
like,
train at.
I was on internet. I was like, I knew I was going to Sydney.
Yeah.
So I was like, which place is the best in Australia to train? And I ended up like going in BJJ Reddit.
Yep.
So lots of people were talking about like Sydney. So I picked Sydney, and I didn't know where to go in Sydney. And I looked it up in Sydney, and there's like the name that was coming up the most were like either 411, Sydney Wrestling, Sydney West, and Committee. That was the four gym that was like coming up the most. and I didn't want to be outside of the city. And like people were saying, like if you're in the city, the place to be is 411. So I started looking up for them, on Instagram, and then that's when I looked up the subversion qualifiers.
Yeah.
And then I ended up like flying just before the qualifiers, and then I ended up having my competition on the gym the day after. Sorry, I competed, met Raf, Nick, and Chris, having a chat with them, saying that I want to sign up here, and then they fucking helped me since.
First time I saw him, I was driving to this comp. I just can't wait for he was doing the same comp. He's jogging around the block in a Gucci tracksuit.
Yeah.
Slides. He came off the plane, wasn't
And he was
weight.
overweight. And so he was jogging around the building trying to lose.
I was a kilo
Yeah,
over,
trying to
so I
lose
had
a
to
kilo.
walk for like 45 minutes
Yeah.
to lose
And
my
we were
kilo.
like, who is this cunt, bro? Like this random dude from France, like and he took off his shirt and he was just fucking jacked. And we're like, oh, fuck, like this guy's a beast, bro. Like we were terrified.
I was dead.
Yeah. And he put on a show, bro. Like
Yeah.
this rolling kimuras, fucking side to side, quick passing. It was like exciting. It's exactly that tournament was a bit dull. Like there was not that many people that signed up. And like it was cool to see some international just come and pump everyone.
And
in
then
that
we
division.
both won and we camped for the super,
Definitely.
the super fight together.
Yeah.
That was it. That was
Yeah.
But to be fair, you explained to me at first the reason why I signed it up is because on my weight class, since I'm like 90 kilo, in my weight class, the only person that was signed up on the competition was Lucas Canar.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, he won the
Trials.
80cc trials. Even if I get smashed, it's a fucking huge experience. So I'm gonna sign up. I was the only one. Raf told me like he's like nobody's gonna sign up if Lucas signed it up on the competition. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm here.
Yeah, he scared everyone away. no one
He
signed.
like he
he didn't do it in the end.
he didn't do it, so he removed himself from the competition. The day after, like 5 guys pull up in the in the weight class.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a cool story. Like, and then now he's part of the crew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now we're all mates, and it's good. Like we're all like boys, you know, and it's good to come on a trip together to Perth.
After you
like-
won those subversion trials, everyone was coming up to him afterwards. Hey, you got to come train with us.
Yeah.
You got to come train with us.
Yeah.
And then Raf just spoke a bit of French to him, and
No, bro.
Speak French.
Yeah, I was coaching
Yeah.
him in French a bit yesterday. I don't know if you heard. Yeah,
No, he definitely. No, so what's happened is
How
like.
can you speak French?
my mum's French. I'm French. I got a French passport. Yeah.
So what's
Hence my
happened is
accent.
like I'm finishing the subversion qualifiers, and then Matt's taking pictures of me, and then Raf's coming to me. He's like, "Hey, are you French?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then he started speaking in French with me. I was like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Where do you want to train here in Sydney?" I was like, "I was about to train here." So I was like, "Okay, let me introduce."
And I
you
was
to,
like- and I was like, I'm going to help you out because I was kind of inspired by a story. Like he's like, I came all the way to train here. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna
So-
who's this freak cutting weight in a Gucci tracksuit?
yeah.
Bro, that's why he told me. He's like, "You came from France." You didn't make weight. We were like, who's
Who's this
that guy?
retard, bro? We were like, this guy's
Retarded, bro.
yeah.
He's coming all the way from France and he's not on weight.
yeah, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, bro. I landed in Sydney the day before the competition. Like it was like a 27 hours flight. I was dead and I was so hungry, so I ended up like at 3 a.m. ordering like two fucking burger.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, bro, I cannot. And
Yeah.
then I ended up having like 1 kilo over.
Yeah,
Like,
the worst to
because,
do a
like,
weight cut with. Cunt
Yeah.
just wants to eat all day.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Generally,
Yeah.
it's the worst
And-
possible thing of all time.
And I guess like I had another question is like because I recently became a dad as well, and you too. Congratulations, by the way. Like
Congratulations.
Texas is super cute. Like I saw him yesterday. He looks like you 100.
Yeah, good genetics, mate.
Yeah, I'm sorry to your wife in
My
advance.
wife's a great or a professional was a professional
Yeah.
athlete, so hopefully he dons her.
But bro, he looks so much like you. I was like, that is Mini Dan right there. Like, how has that kind of changed your life in terms of business?
Not really at
and
all.
Jeremy and I actually spoke about it, and we said, I don't think it's going to change anything. But like,
I mean, I'm not. Everyone's always like thinking, yeah, like, oh, once I had my kid, my life changed.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been so self motivated.
Yeah.
Like, I've never needed something to be like, you have to go to work or
Yeah.
you have like. I don't think there's many athletes who are like, oh, I have to get up and go train.
yeah,
It's like you've chosen to do
Nah,
that.
Nick's like that.
You should be.
Oh,
I mean, you should be self motivated. Like for me, I'm like, I would work 12-hour days. Like I don't need someone to be like, you have
Yeah.
to go to work.
yeah. Will was saying that about you. He's like, you're here in the office first, and you fucking stayed.
Yeah, I work all the time. The only thing that's like the travel is a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But my partner's amazing. She's just like I go away all the time, and we've been together for so long. And like when she was a professional athlete, she'd be gone months at a time, and I'd be gone. Like when I was younger, I went to LA for 2 months.
Yeah.
I'll be away here for a month.
You guys are used to that
yeah,
relationship.
August
you
I'm
make it
going
work,
away
yeah.
for a month for CGI. We're filming a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff.
Do you like being a dad?
Yeah, I'm still pretty retarded.
Yeah.
Like, I even like I was always just like I mean, I'm a people person, so my life has been working with people.
Yeah.
So I'm so used to having staff members or having team members. And
You've been a dad the whole time, bro.
Yeah, I feel like again,
yeah, nothing changed. I felt the same, bro. Like, I mean,
Me too.
I have all these little fucking dudes to look after, you know.
Yeah, I think
what mean?
I'm so used to having responsibility. For me, it's no different.
Yeah.
The only thing I find is a lot more scary is the more basic stuff like feeding him, make sure he doesn't choke. Like,
you got to squash the blueberries.
Yeah, but outside of that, it's like, to me, we've always had dogs. I've always had staff members. Like,
Dogs
so that came out. And I was like, hopefully no one picks up on that. But it's like, it's the same. Like, I've always just been around people or part of teams.
Yeah.
To me, it's
just another team member.
Literally. Yeah. Again, it's just a very small one that can't talk yet.
And this one loves you, bro. Like, you know, he wants to do
that is
time.
the one cool thing is like, it is pretty cool. Like, it's a small human.
It's funny that it's like your little...
Well, I delayed with my partner as long as possible having kids. She wanted kids from a young age. Yeah. I just delayed. I was always like, I'm not ready.
I was the same with my wife.
I wanted to be in a different place. I want to be more set up.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, once it's happened now, so I should have had kids ages ago.
Yeah. Do you want more? You reckon?
I know my partner does.
Shop still open?
Yeah, well, I'm sure we will, but I mean, potentially might move to America next year and try to grow the brand there more. Especially while he's young, now is the best time.
Yeah.
Because once they're at like 4, 5, 6, and
they get settled into their routine.
They need to be.
You might get an American accent though. So
I mean, that's the thing is, who knows? It's like everything I think
you could play in the MLS, bro.
Everything I think about is business focus. So like, until they're old enough to run their own thing, like from my focus is just so on the business or what can I do to grow the business. That
he has to be. You have to do a kids range.
Hey, we are the kids range comes out at the end of this month or next month.
Oh, I'm gonna get something.
So he's getting straight into getting monetized, man.
Yeah, put him to work young, bro.
I like it. It's like I want to wear the same thing. I want us to wear the same things. That literally we're making it so we can have a matching kit. Yeah. And I think like so many of our demographic is obviously started from when we started to. They're obviously a lot of them have got kids, so it makes sense to do. Like we have obviously, I've never had a kid before. We had no reason to really make kid stuff.
Yeah.
But now,
the brand's authentic to you.
Yeah, it makes
as
sense.
you grow white, it makes perfect sense.
It makes if there's a storyline we can tell. If I didn't have a kid and someone we worked with had a kid, then it would make sense.
I found that cool. That like you can be. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you can have your life settled by with what you achieved here in StreetX in Australia with the sales and everything, but that you want to expand that.
Yeah. I hate the idea.
You can be comfortable. Yeah.
I hate the idea of like, no, we're good. Like. Every release.
Do you think that's a curse as well for you though? Like it'll never stop. Like
especially with staff members, it's a hard thing. If you're constantly like, cool, we have a record-breaking release or an amazing activation or something better than ever.
Yeah.
Second it's done, I'm like, cool, what's the next thing?
Yeah.
Because to be fair, like
people want to celebrate more. That's I don't really do.
Like it's an Austrian brand.
Yep.
And like the second big one, I think, if I can talk about it, it's like White Fox.
Yep.
Which
huge.
Like it's huge, but like it stays in Australia.
Yeah. But it's like that. I mean, that's like a monster.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like, how do we get to that level?
Yeah.
It's like it's huge, but it's huge in Australia. Like it doesn't go away from Australia. So if you manage to like open it up like perfectly with your plans in the US, like
but like look at Ruka. Ruka, the same thing was originally started in America, and now I mean, generally RVCA or Ruka is known worldwide. Yeah, like especially.
I don't even notice. What is it?
RVCA.
Okay, RVC, okay.
It's pronounced Ruka.
Okay.
But like when they launched their sport line, you obviously had the BJ Penn black belt short, which
bro,
is the most
Chris
famous.
loves those, bro.
One of the most famous MMA shorts.
Yeah.
They obviously had Vitor Belfort, always wore it.
Heaps of surfers, skateboarders.
Yeah, and that's
Heaps
like
of crossover.
Same thing for StreetX.
See you boys.
See you, lads. That was a big crossover to a different world, but that's where we want to expand and hit that market more. Like working with Cheeto sort of helps achieve that.
Yeah.
Working with different athletes in different areas helps.
Yeah.
And I thought that brand was a jiu-jitsu brand as well.
Yeah, see?
Like I didn't know that was like surfer.
Originally a complete surf brand, and they same thing like we did. They created a sport arm.
But that's funny because I have the point of view of the people, like of a guy that doesn't know. Is it Australian?
No, it's from the US originally.
Okay, so like I have the point of view of the guy that come from France, so we don't have like those kind of brands usually. So when we have them, it's like jiu-jitsu related.
Yeah.
So when people like take these brands to like gyms or everything or anything, is like just for jiu-jitsu. So when we know them, it's about sport.
I mean, that's the thing is you get so many fight wear brands that try and be lifestyle. Whereas we've done it the other way. We're a lifestyle
Yes.
brand that's then gone into
Into
combat
fighting,
fight, which I like that aesthetic much better because fight wear you're very much boxed.
Yeah.
And to get out of fight wear is very hard.
Hard to get out of the
You've
box,
already you've got a core market of
Yeah.
lifestyle people. Like
You could branch off into anything, really.
a lot of jiu-jitsu guys aren't cool, unfortunately, and fighters are not cool. That's just
What are you saying?
no, but that's like, we appeal to the part of the market that are more say,
You make it cool.
Well, a lot of jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
people are just autistic nerds.
Yeah.
and there's brands that appeal directly to him, like a Mikey Musumeci appeal. Like that's obviously the UFC are using him as his face. To me, I'm like
Wait, who does he appeal to?
that type of autistic, nerdy jiu-jitsu guy. I'd say I would not like. For me, I would never pick him as the face of my brand.
Yeah.
Doesn't align with the direction I want to.
Craig was a perfect fit for you guys.
Something like Craig works for that. But then if you're thinking of the UFC, for me, like I would say like a Connor, a Paddy Pimblett, obviously Ilya now.
Yeah.
He talks a lot of shit and he wins. Those type of guys would I'd say align with us because they've got character.
Yeah.
I'm not picking who's a generic Chris. I'm not picking a Chris Weidman to be the face of StreetX.
Yeah.
So it's picking and choosing the right people in your world
Yeah.
to represent the brand.
Yeah. That's cool. Any other questions?
No. Thank you, Dan.
No, thank you guys.
Your time.
Thanks.
Thank you for running that comp last night. It was an amazing experience. Everyone
Yes,
can go
I
watch
agree
that.
with that.
I think the replay is available on
Yeah, it
YouTube.
is on YouTube. It's not the best stream, but we can improve that next time.
The vibes are high. And there'll be another one, I'm hearing.
Yeah.
That's funny again
Sure.
because I had a lot of people that was following in France and nobody complained about the stream.
Hey, it's free. What do you?
That's funny. No,
They're used to the low quality. Like,
no. We have good things, but like what I'm saying is like we can complain about this because we have the real things here.
Yeah.
So we could see what's happening here and see what's the stream, what the stream looks
Yeah,
like.
like when the stream came on, I was like, "Fuck, is that low? Is it going to get any better?"
Actually, just one last question. My wife had this theory, and she's like, "Can you please ask him this?" She thinks that the way you inspired everything was toddlers' clothes, but for adults, like with the Crocs, because she saw the Crocs.
I mean, it's literally
this is
like
kids shit.
Well, like literally. So for the kids stuff we're making, I literally want to get the adult clothes that I wear, and how do I shrink it for a kid?
Yeah,
Like, we just did the opposite.
Yeah, she's like, he makes toddlers' clothes and then just makes it for adults. It's genius.
I love like you mix different.
What was the other one that was like quite childish? It was like I think it was a T-shirt. I don't know. Like I can't remember. And she used it as an
I don't think your
example.
stuff is childish.
No.
We've made a big mix of different things. There's some things that kids can definitely wear, and there's some things that are definitely too rude.
Yeah.
Make a just keep pinging the cunt toddler.
Yeah, that would be great. And that's the thing is like
People would buy that.
But that's our aesthetic. We had so many complaints about why did you put cunt on it? I'm like, well, you obviously don't know our brand.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is those people, if they want to buy it, go buy another.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Anyone you want to shout out or anything?
Not really.
Cool.
No. Hey, just my team. I suppose
Yeah,
that's the team and the brand. That's all I need to shout out.
Yeah.
There's if you like the brand, go buy something.
Yeah. Buy something. StreetX, everyone. Cool.
Sweet.
Thanks so much, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
How long was that?
An hour and a half.
Oh, nice.